Hello, good evening, everyone. My name is Alan Roach from the Student Revolving Loan Fund. We are here to present to you information on our cybersecurity program that is, we're going into cohort 5. Um, and we have with us Shaquille Leacock and Alan Farmer from the Student Revolving Loan Fund to give you information on the program as it relates to the Student Revolving Loan Fund. And we have Ryan Thompson, who is the program director, who is here of the program to give you an in-depth view of the program, what it involves, what to expect on a day-to-day basis, and what you can expect at the end of the program. What we're going to do is we're going to give the rest of people another little 5 minutes or so to log on. So at 6:08 or so, we will be starting. So again, welcome.
Unlock your career in cybersecurity. The Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education, in collaboration with Protexxa, the Student Revolving Loan Fund, and George Brown College, presents a full-time, 4-month cutting-edge cybersecurity course for broad-based your career in cybersecurity. The Ministry of Training and Tertiary Education, in collaboration with Protexxa, the Student Revolving Loan Fund, and George Brown College, presents a full-time, 4-month cutting-edge cybersecurity course.
Hi, my name is Tahira. I'm currently doing the cybersecurity course with Cybernations here in Barbados. Now, this course, I would have seen it advertised a few times. I've also known a few persons who would have completed it as well. I was hesitant to join because I was saying I don't have a IT background, and I also work full-time, run a business, and obviously have a family to maintain. However, since joining the course, I have challenged myself to, to push through no matter what obstacles, may come along. And I find that the company really makes an effort to give all of their students every single opportunity that they would need to pass. So far, it has been going good. Some sacrifices have been made, yes. However, I do believe it is something that will benefit myself and my family in the long run.
Hello, my name is David Woodruff from Cybernations Cybersecurity Bootcamp. Today I'm here to talk about my experience so far in the program. It has been a mixed bag for me. I have a IT background and I've dabbled in cybersecurity before, but this is my first foray into in-depth study, so it has been challenging. There are times when you are up late at night trying to work on assignments or helping groupmates with assignments. So it is fully hands-on, fully engaged all the time. It requires a lot of time management skills. It requires a lot of getting out of your comfort zone to really work in the teams and to really digest the information that's coming at you. What I will say, it has been a good ride, great ride so far. I would say it is opening my eyes to what cybersecurity is, what risks actually are out there, and how I can play a role in assisting in Barbados and maybe the world beyond. And I'm looking forward to completing and really embracing this new career change that I'm looking into. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Alison Catlin. I am part of Cohort 4 for the cybersecurity course offered by Cybernations. It's actually been very interesting so far. An opportunity to learn something new in an area I've never tried before. So it's actually a very, I don't know, it's a stretch. It's a new way to learn new things and, see how far I can go. and what I'm capable of, since it's an area I've never tried before. So, as mentioned previously, it's an opportunity for me to try something new because my background is actually in financial services. So I'm pursuing this course in cybersecurity to expand my skills and make myself more marketable. That's my objective.
Hi, my name is Amber Price, and I'm currently doing the cybersecurity course here in Barbados with Cybernations. For me, coming from an IT background, I was looking forward to trying the course, filling it out. But it's interesting to say the least because it was a whole new field to me. It's kind of challenging but engaging at the same time. When you have persons around you supporting and willing to help you, it's easier to forget the stresses and the hard work. The motivation is very encouraging. So far, it's more like a hands-on course. It's not just theory, it's more like labs, engaging. So if you were thinking about joining the course, you should.
You're on mute, Alan.
Sorry, again, one more time, I'd like to say welcome to all of you for joining us this evening, taking your time out. I know people are ready to eat some dinner and stuff like that, but we have some very important information to share with you about the cybersecurity program, which, as you've seen just now, have benefited a number of persons. You've seen some persons who would have done cohort 4, and we're now heading on to take you guys into cohort 5. So what I'm going to do is going to hand over to my colleague, Alan Farmer and Shaquille Leacock, and they're going to give you what we offer from the Student Revolving Loan Fund with regards to the program.
Very good evening again, everyone. Just to follow on from what Alan would have started with, we are the Student Revolving Loan Fund. We are the entity who has been tasked with providing the financing for the cybersecurity course to make sure eligible persons have the facility to be able to do the course. So I'm just going to go into some of the background of the Student Revolving Loan Fund. So our purpose is basically to provide loans to eligible Barbadian citizens to assist in areas of financing. We do a variety of areas. We do academic, technical, vocational studies. We do a variety of tertiary level institutions. We do universities and colleges, both locally and abroad. We do Samuel Jatwan Prescott Institution, Barbados Community College, just to name a few. We cover tuition fees, we cover living expenses and meals as well if you are studying abroad. Basically, how would you qualify for financing from the Student Revolving Loan Fund? You must be 18 years and older. That is the legal age to enter into a contractual agreement. Like I previously mentioned, you must be a Barbadian citizen. The institution and the program that you are looking to enroll in must be accredited. Our application process is fully online. So you would visit the website to begin the application process. That is srlfloan.edu.bb. The way how our loans are structured is that you pay nothing while you study. So during the study period, you're not stipulated to pay. And then in addition to that, all of the loans are structured with somewhat of a grace period. Depending on the length of study, that would determine how long the grace period is. For example, full-time courses, you will get a 1 year grace period. So an additional year where you're not stipulated to pay. If you do pay during the study period, we do have some special conditions in place. If you pay during the study period, you get interest-free payments. The interest only starts to occur during the grace period. You can make payments during the grace period as well, even though you're not stipulated to pay. Our interest rate, we have a special interest rate, 5.55%. So it's a very competitive interest rate. So again, categories that we finance, we do local studies, regional, online, and international studies. We do from doctorates, masters, diplomas, certificates, bachelors, vocational qualifications. So a variety of areas we can finance. And we do both part-time and full-time studies. So it's not limited to full-time studies alone. So just a slight overview of some of the products that we offer. So our most popular product is the student loan with a maximum borrow of up to 125,000. And like I previously mentioned, the grace period allows you to not pay nothing up until 1 year after you completed the course. Our digital transformation loan, this loan product would have came about in 2020. It's an unsecured loan. So all of our other loan products are secured, either by sureties or some form of security, but the digital transformation is unsecured, but is repaid by salary deduction only. So you must be employed. This loan, you can borrow up to a maximum of $6,000. And this loan is for the purchase of educational equipment, so computers, laptops, tablets, anything of that degree. We are in a technological era, so the digital transformation loan would play a part in that field. We have the top-up loan option. So basically, if persons already have existing finance with us and are interested in furthering their studies in um, another degree, you can basically top up on your existing loan before you finish paying it off. Usually, what would happen in a case like that, you would more than likely combine the existing loan with the new amount that you're looking to borrow, and then your formal agreement would be revised. And then lastly, we are doing the artificial intelligence course. We are also providing the finance for that. And then the course that we are here to discuss tonight, the cybersecurity course. The cybersecurity course has two loans available. There is $14,000, which would cover the course fees and the laptop that will be provided to you. If you have a laptop that is suitable for the course, you can do the $11,000 option, which would cover the course fees alone. In comparison to the other courses, the cybersecurity course has a special interest rate of 3.5%. And then it also has a slight grace period in place as well, similar to our loan products. We have some new products that are going to be coming into the picture soon, that we'll be launching soon. Alan Farmer will just elaborate a bit more on that.
Hi, good evening. Shaki said my name is Alan Farmer. So Shaki would have introduced the loan products that we currently have. Outside of those loan products, we're now looking to offer two new loan products. We would say the back to school loan, which is similar to our DTL. It's an unsecured loan repaid through salary deduction. The interest rate that we can offer for that loan is 6 to 8%, and it's for studies from nursery to tertiary. So regardless of what you're studying, you can qualify for that loan. And as I said, it's unsecured, and you just have to have a salary reduction. Similar to that, we have a professional development loan, and this is basically a loan for what we consider short courses or emergent courses or qualifications. So courses are less than a year, courses that are not that expensive, online courses and stuff like that, ACC, project management, along those lines. Those are courses that would qualify under that. It's similar design, it's unsecured, up to a maximum of $10,000, interest rate 6 to 8%. So we're looking to launch this full suite of loans would be offered from the Student Revolving Loan Fund from May 2nd of this year. Right. So we do have special loan limits. Shaki would have said the loan limit for cybersecurity is $11,000, and that's $11,000 without the laptop, $14,000 with the laptop. That's the cost of the course. But outside of that, if you want a top-up loan, so if you already have a loan from us and you want to do the course, you can still get a top-up loan.
So these are basically our loan limits, local, regional, international. It depends on what you're studying. The limit is different. My advice persons naturally to go to our website. The loan limits are on our website. It's broken down more thorough than this as it relates to limit for diplomas, limit for graduate studies, etc. All of these, once you're studying online, however, we just cover the tuition cost plus the laptop plus a laptop cost. So we can add on a laptop cost to any tuition on for online studies. As I said, there are varying limits for what you're studying. If you are studying that locally at UE and stuff like that, the courses are covered. If you are studying regionally and it is sponsored, then we give you money for housing. If you're studying in Trinidad and it's a sponsored course, we give $15,000 per year. If you're studying in Jamaica and it's a sponsored course, we naturally will do $12,000 per year. If you are studying locally and you have to pay for the course, we will do tuition plus the cost of a laptop. UE medical students, we will do up to a maximum of 75,000 if it's not sponsored. However, if it's sponsored, I think you get 15,000 per year. As I said, we're talking about cybersecurity here right now, and that's the focus. So financing is available through the Student Revolving Loan Fund for the cybersecurity course. What I will say is that if you want to self-fund the course, which means that you want to get financing from another institution, or you have the funds, or somebody's looking to sponsor you the funds, you will have to pay the funds into Student Revolving Loan Fund, and that is 11. As I said, the cost of the course is $11,000 without the laptop, $14,000 with the laptop. That also includes the Microsoft Office software. However, all of our loans, regardless the product outside of our new suite of loans and our digital transformation loan, carry some form of security. The more popular option for security is sureties. Basically, a surety is any of the body that believes in you, believes that you have the potential, and they will co-sign with you. Here we have that the surety will have to be making a minimum of $30,000. However, for the cybersecurity program, the surety just has to be making $15,500 per annum. The only other thing they have to present, fill out a surety form, present a job letter, proof of address, and a Barbados ID card. Person must be working and living in Barbados, 18 between the ages of 18 and 60. The surety is a more popular option. Outside of sureties, we take land and property, which is not necessarily the more popular option for this amount of the loan. But we take land and property at 90% of the land tax or the government valuation of that property. And you will present some documents and pledge documents from the owner of the property. We take cash and fixed deposits. Well, I'll do cash, fixed deposits, government notes, and bonds in the same area because we take cash, fixed deposit, government bonds, and treasury notes at 100%, which means we just take it dollar for dollar. It doesn't have to be your own. It could be your parent or a relative that believes in you. Literally, they will just assign that asset to us for the period or for the life of the loan. Once the loan has been repaid, we release the asset back to them. We take shares traded on Fortress and Barbados Stock Exchange. Because of the volatility of the stock market, we take those at 60%. That's 60% of, so basically saying 60% of the value would have to total $14,000 or $11,000 for this loan. The same thing with cash life insurance policies. We do not take new life insurance policies. So the life insurance policy must have a current cash surrender value. And we take it at 90% of that current cash surrender value. Right. So as we said, Ryan would go into the program itself, but to apply for financing and even to apply for the course, you will go through the Student Revolving Loan Fund website. So that is srlfloan.edu.bb. If you are self-financing, you will still fill out the information because we still need your general information, and you will just select self-financing on the form. As I said before, $14,000 is inclusive of the laptop. $11,000 is without. And if you visit cyber-nations.com, you will be able to see the specific specs of the laptop that is required. Ryan would also probably mention the specs. As I said, I mentioned the securities. As I said, all of the loans has to be secured for this project. The good thing about this project is that you have 4 months in the program, and then we will give you a 4 months grace period before you have to start repaying. The project comes with a 1 year, and I'm stressing on that 1 year guaranteed job placement once you have successfully completed the project. However, like any other job, you have to go to the job and perform for that 1 year to be successful. We do have a special interest rate, so there's a reduced interest rate from 5.55% to 3.5%, and we have up to 24 months to repay the loan if you have a loan from the Student Revolving Loan Fund. Right. And then basically, I'm wrapping up. So basically, once you have started the process, we will send you an email, but you would also, even if you haven't submitted an application as yet, we will contact you, and Protexxa, Cybernations will also contact you. And that is because it's a two-pronged approach. You have to pass an assessment called NOCRE, which is like a video interview to get into the program. Ryan would go in a bit more detail of exactly what NOCRE is. But as I said, key takeaways: funding is available through the Student Revolving Loan Fund. $14,000 with a laptop, 11 without a laptop. If you are self-financing the program, you still will fill out the application on the Student Revolving website. However, you will select self-financing. If you want to speak to any member of the loans team or our customer engagement, you can take the numbers. I will also place the numbers of these officers in the chat. But you will primarily contact Monique Wilson, Marshall Keane, or Kadisha Ford. Addition to that, you can contact us at 535-0834. So that is 535-0834. That is contacting directly to our customer service department. So I will turn over to Ryan, who would actually give you a deeper scope into the cybersecurity program.
Thank you so much, Alan. Great to be here. Welcome, everyone. Excited to present this today, and we're going into Cohort 5, which is very exciting. So I'm just going to share my screen. Okay, so you might already have heard what our mission is, but I'd just like to quickly go over it because I think it's an important one. We help bridge the gap between techno jobs and their needs and employers, and people that are interested in elevating their lives and trying something new. So we're interested in bridging that gap. And in this particular case, we're talking about cybersecurity, because cybersecurity is here. It's very much needed because of all the cyber hacks that you've probably heard about in the news. So these companies are struggling. They need talented people that are committed and passionate about what they're doing. And there's people that are perhaps interested in trying something new and upskilling and trying new things. So let me talk a little bit about our program and what makes it so special. We have a self-paced learning approach, so we kind of do a hybrid-like thing. There is some in-class learning that happens, but the bulk of it happens behind the scenes, where you are kind of able to sort of manipulate your day a little bit and take advantage of the fact that you can pick and choose when you want to do things. Now, there is some time commitments, and I'll go over that in a little bit, but for the most part, you're able to kind of dive into it with some flexibility. We also have live guest lectures. We like to bring in people that are seasoned professionals and also people from old cohorts to kind of give you a sense of what it's like out in the cyber realm, but also what it's like to be successful in the program and some of the hardships that people have encountered and how they overcame them. We have group and individual assignments. So these are designed to reflect the real world, what you would be doing in an entry-level cyber job, so that you have practice doing what you'd be asked to later on. We have tabletop exercises and a capstone project. Again, capstone project changes from cohort to cohort, but we've generally find that they're people like doing them because they pull together a lot of the information that was learned in the course, and they are very relevant to something that you would have to do again when you're in the working environment. We also, one of the certifications that the course is aligned with is the CompTIA Security Plus, which is a globally recognized certification. So it is like pretty much the thing that you must have to when employers look at you and they go, oh, okay, they have Security Plus, then that's kind of like the minimum level of standard that they expect, and it guarantees that you know your stuff. And then finally, we offer a lot of support. Our instructor staff is trained to help you with one-on-one or small group support. We also have tutors from the industry that come in and teach you about networking. They teach you about concepts in security, so that you're in a really good environment. You're in a very warm environment that's very supportive and helpful. So up here you can see past students and what they've said. I've sort of highlighted what I think are the major words or the major themes of these testimonials: happiness, community, networking, real world practices, industry experts. So just very quickly, some of this may not make sense right now, but what does our course outline look like? Well, we have 5 broad subtopics in our curriculum. We have general security concepts, so we introduce you to the idea of security and you know what it involves. We come up with lots of definitions. We talk about threats, vulnerabilities, and mitigations. So that basically means how can a network, how can a company be threatened? What are the vulnerabilities that a company can experience, and how can this be avoided? We talk about security architecture. So that's stuff like how can we design with security in mind? You know, how can we build the most ideal company or the safest company we can think of? We talk about security program management and oversight. So that's things like, you know, what do we need to train people to do to be able to act securely and safely in a company? What kind of policies and procedures do we need to put in place into a company to make sure that it's as secure as possible? And then finally, we talk about security operations, which is like, what do the day-to-day security professionals in an organization do? And to make sure that they are seeing the threats, that they are acting on the threats, and what do they do afterwards once the threat is either taken root into a system or maybe they've managed to delete it off of a system. So what's it like in the class? So you can see the schedule is pretty tame. We have like a huddle pretty much every morning. It's not always at 9. Sometimes they start a little later at 9:30, but it's generally encouraged that you attend as many huddles as possible. The more that you attend, the more community you're able to access. Plus there's stuff that happens in those huddles. Sometimes the presentations happen there. Sometimes there's tutoring sessions. And then after the huddle, there is self-paced work, which kind of is around other things that will happen during the day. So these are sort of like the mandatory parts, but there could be tutors that are happening. Well, there are tutors that happen every day. Sometimes they'll change though. They're not always on the same time, but you can be sure that there's always help available and you can access if you need it. And not only will you find that you're accessing help from the staff, but you're also probably going to be helping each other, which was, if you were at the beginning here of this presentation, you would have heard some of the graduates from the previous cohort. They mentioned that the community that you kind of are within, your colleagues that are kind of with you on this journey, they are going to be the best people that you're going to lean on when you need that. So here's an overview of the course calendar. So the course starts in early June. It's about 5 months, a little bit less, and you eventually will get to the end of the capstone, and then there's a brief period of grading, and after the grading we have our graduation, and then after the graduation there is a 90-day sort of placement period. So this is the time when you're it's kind of like there is some self-work that happens generally. So a lot of graduates take the CompTIA Security Plus during this period, and then at the end of the 90 days you will have some knowledge about what the placement looks like, or the placement part of the program looks like for you for the rest of the year, so for the year after that. One of the things that Alan spoke about that isn't part of the slideshow, but I think is important, is that we talked about the application process, and that when you initiate contact with SRLF, they will pass on your information to us, and then we will invite you to the interview platform. And the interview platform is a 5 questions that is like a video recording session. And so you'll be asked to answer these 5 questions. And I strongly recommend that you take the time in your day to say, I'm going to allot an hour. It won't take an hour to do, but you're going to carve out an hour in your day, and you say, this is going to be the time where I'm going to do all the questions. Make sure that the environment is as noise-free as possible, that you are prepared and ready to answer the questions to your best of your ability. And then what you're going to do is you're just going to do all the questions in one go. There will be time during the interview process where you can kind of reflect on what your answer will be. And then once you've done your reflection, then you can press I'm ready to record, and then you can kind of share your answers. So there's lots of advice before you get started on that. So if you missed what I said, it definitely is repeated before you even start the interview process. But like, again, I really stress that you should probably get it to go all in one go. There's really no pausing and coming back to it later. It's meant to be kind of like a real interview, right? Where you go in, you do your interview, and then you come out. So back into the course, you can see that, again, I talked a bit about tutorials. We have experts that come in. They go over topics like networking and security weekly. We have guest speakers, and the next slide we'll talk a bit about who comes in and chats with our students. We have assignments, and you can see the titles of some of these assignments. There's the principles of NIST. Well, what that is a very important framework that cybersecurity professionals rely on to make sure that their companies are secure. We do things like OSINT, which is like, I just today asked our OSINT team to look into a company that we want to do business with. So what it is just finding information that's publicly available about that company. And then we have hands-on labs. So things that, where you get the real training, right? There's book smarts, and then there's hand smarts where you like are learning on the go. And this is where I think the real world learning comes in. So here's some of our past guest speakers. We've had former CIA, we've had pen testers, which are ethical hackers, forensics. We've had companies that are involved with the dark web, data protection, malware, and much, much more. For our assessments, we require that all assignments and labs and everything basically you do for marks has to be 70% or above. It's not an average. Every single item has to be 70%. However, the kind of, that might seem daunting, but there is, you are allowed to redo things and you are provided with a lot of feedback. So we find that this model is very successful. People feel like they don't have to worry about failing, they just have to worry about learning. And then finally, some things to consider. You must be available 35 or more hours per week to do this course. You must attend daily sessions, so as many daily sessions as possible. You have to be available 9 to 5 during the 12-month placement part, because the companies or the companies that you'll be working with, we're not quite sure where you're going to be, so we can't really tell you right now if you can have a certain time slot. So you just have to make sure that you're flexible. And also it's very high pressure. I don't want to say that to dissuade you, but I just want you to understand that although some people who've had jobs during the course have been successful, it can put a real strain on family and on your mental health. So all of these things are important to consider before applying to the program. And that's it for me.
Okay, thank you very much, Ryan, and thank you very much, Alan and Shaquille. What we're going into right now is the question and answer session. Overall, what we know is that the Student Revolving Loan Fund is offering loans to support this program at very good interest rate at 3.5%. The application process is pretty much hassle-free. And even if you're financing on your own, you have to come through the Student Revolving Loan Fund to be able to access it. And we will pass on the application on to the to Protexxa's team to do the program. The other thing that comes out is that the program, like any other program that is of value, it will be challenging, and you have to dedicate some sort of time to it. And so keep that there in mind. And you also have to dedicate time to the 1 year work, 1 year work placement that is offered at the end of the program. Now, at this point in time, we would really like for you to submit your questions. You can ask live or you can put them in the chat. So we're listening up to hear you.
I see a couple of questions in the chat. What is the start date for cohort 5? That is June 2nd. And then what is the graduate success rate of the program? It's pretty high, which is amazing actually for a program of like this. Is probably around 80%. What special conditions apply if you want to use your own hardware? So there is the financial incentive of using your own hardware. You could use a desktop, but I would recommend a laptop, because once you get into the placement part, you may be asked to bring that device to the company. So just keep that in mind.
Right, so then there were a couple of questions on the interest and the repaying of the loan. So the interest is charged on simple interest. Let's start there. So interest is charged on the reducing balance of the loan. What that means is that the more you pay up front, so this answers the question about paying it back in a year also. The more you pay up front on that loan, the less you end up paying in interest. As I said, interest starts from the grace period, as myself and Shaquille said. But ultimately, if you end up paying back the loan in 1 year, you probably will save approximately 900 to 1,000 in interest. The next question, I guess, can go to Ryan. What is the salary of the job placement? And if it's only for 1 year, will you be able to work on a permanent basis?
Yeah, so the salary is 30,000 USD per year. It is only for 1 year. However, there has been some success cases where the person has been offered they've been offered like extension to that placement. But that's not guaranteed by this program. So that is dependent on your work ethic and other factors, right, that are kind of out of our control.
Yeah. And while you're studying, just to interject, there is that Protexxa will give you, while you're in the work placement, Protexxa will give you some continuing learning support, etc., to help you transition from the one-year placement into the wide world of work, which could range from finding employment in the cybersecurity field proper, or even becoming an entrepreneur in the field. So the options are great once you've gained this qualification.
Michael asks, is there a possibility of doing the job placement on a part-time basis? Generally, no. So the AI program, you may want to investigate that. It's a little bit, there is some more flexibility possible. So when we do cohort 3 of the AI program, we might be able to address that need a bit better. But for the cyber program, that's not possible. Jimmy asks, if you don't pass, do you do over the course? So you are entitled to a single deferral to the next program if you don't are not successful in this program. So you would have to, if it was cohort 5 that you weren't successful in, you would immediately have to defer to cohort 6. For the person that leaves their current place of employment and successful in placement, what will happen after the year? So again, I can't answer that. We're just trying to prepare you as best as possible for a career in cybersecurity, and then what happens after our program is out of our hands, unfortunately. Alicia is asking, are there any provisions in place for persons who are already working so that they may be able to complete the coursework in the evening? So like I said, there have been people that have been very successful who have worked. I mean, we do things like recordings of our presentations and of all of the huddles. But you will find that you will have to be a little bit more proactive because you're going to have to be getting information that, maybe outside of the course, engaging with your colleagues and so on. So you might find that, yeah, the initiative will be in your court, or the ball will be in your court more often than not. And then Shannon's asking about the requirements for a top-up loan.
I'll let Alan go into that.
Right. So the requirements for the top-up loan is similar to the requirements for any loan. You apply online. What we naturally would do is that we would make sure that the surety or what security you bring covers the full what you're applying for. Yeah, basically what you're applying for plus what you owe us. What we do in the case of top-up loans is that we reset the terms of the loan completely, merge it into one loan, reset the terms, so you go back into study where no interest is being charged, a grace period, etc. As it relates to the top-up loans. As I said, the requirements are similar. It has to be secured. The full amount has to be secured, so the combined amount will have to be secured for surety or some form of security. But once you go in the top-up phase, then we reset the terms of the loan, give you that study and grace period where no interest is charged during study, and then interest starts from the grace, and then you start repayment after that grace period, like it's a whole new loan. Like both of them are whole new loans.
Michael's asking, are you paid in USD currency during the job placement? I don't actually know the answer to that. So if you'd like, I can take that back and try to find the answer. Is there anything specific you should prepare for the interview? I would suggest, looking at your history, looking at experiences that you think are relevant to how you would be successful in an organization, things that you think an employer or an interviewer would like to hear about how you would thrive in a program like this. So that's what I would suggest, and just think about that. Go over your history. If you have a resume, go over your resume, and spend some time maybe even writing it down, so that once you get to the interview, you have some things to draw on during that time. Do you have to take the job placement if you are currently employed? No, you don't have to take the job placement, but you will have to pay off the loan if if you are accessing the loan from SRLF. And then how long would be the grace period?
So with top-up loans, the grace period matches the length of the program. As Shakil would have said in the beginning of the presentation, the grace period is up to 1 year. So ultimately, anything under 1 year, the grace period naturally matches the length of the program. So if you're doing this program, the grace period will be 4 months. If you're doing a program longer than a year, then you will get back a year grace period. In the case of this program, the grace period is 4 to 5 months. It all depends on when the program is offered. So from the June cohort, the grace period will be 4 months. Any cohort that starts like in October, November, the grace period naturally for that is 5 months because then the length of the program is 5 months during that period.
All right, I see that there's a question here. I don't know if we had gone into it from Richard Clark, and I think it's a very important question. How difficult is it to work full time and do the course?
Well, like I said, it's been done before. I don't. I think it's personally very difficult because you're talking about a 35-hour at least course plus a 40-hour job plus if you're an adult, so you may have a family. So these are all factors you have to think about. Like you're essentially having 2 jobs. So that is, to me, that is something that is not an easy something to dismiss easily. Michael's asking, is the salary likely to go up after the job placement period, where the likely salary ranges after the job placement period ends if the company keeps you on? Again, it's kind of up to the company. So whoever you're working for, that will decide on the possibility for an extension, will also whether or not there's a possibility for an increase or not. So these are factors that are sort of out of our control, unfortunately.
And for going on after the program, again, like any other program, like, you go and do an associate degree, you get qualified, you get employed at that level, and then you go on to further studies and go a little deeper into it and choose exactly which direction you want to go into, because there are different directions you can go after you've completed this program and been exposed to the 1 year job placement. So all of that will prepare you for your future, and you pretty much are become the master of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. How soon after the program is completed does the job placement start? So it will start generally starts within 90 days after graduation. The question is the job placement of the local companies or international companies. So it is both. We have contracts with international companies. We also have contracts with local companies. So there's possibilities for either.
Okay, Juliet, you raised your hands with a question, so you can go right ahead.
Yeah,
Julieta?
Julieta, you can unmute and go ahead.
Okay, I guess she's okay. So as we wait for Julieta, you go on to the right. We go on to the next question, which is from Kim. Is there a high demand for any specific cybersecurity specialty?
I'm not exactly sure. However, I think compliance, like GRC, is often it's a rare one. So they often need people there. But I think across the board, there's demand for cybersecurity professionals in all sub areas. What are some of the areas that you can get into after you completed the course? Well, I did have a slide on this, but I removed it. But things like vulnerability specialists, so people that detect vulnerabilities in a system. There's also analysts that sort of scan networks and make sure that the traffic that's going through that is not malicious. We have cyber awareness people that are kind of involved in training. We also have compliance people, like I mentioned, so they're responsible for making sure companies are obeying laws and regulations and best practices. So that's kind of 4 examples, but there's so many more. There's lots of subgroups for cyber.
Okay, great. For job placements with international companies, is it strictly remote work, or is it possible that you'll have to travel overseas to the company?
In general, you won't have to travel, so it will be kind of a hybrid approach in most cases, but I would say leaning towards remote. So there could be opportunities where you are 100% remote, but there also could be you could be asked to kind of go into either a local office to work from there for a bit.
Okay, for Julieta, for a person that leaves their current place of employment and is successful in placement, what will happen after the year is up? Well, as we have said, is like, let's look at it as though you would have started any academic area of study, as I would have mentioned before, and is a full-time area of study. You go to do an associate degree at BCC or a first degree at UE, etc. Um, what happens after that is that you pretty much enter the job market, and in this situation, you actually get a jump start into the job market, a paid jump start into the job market. And all to add on top of that, you also get in um, additional learning support while you're in the job market for that year. And while you're in that job market, then you get the opportunity to network, you get the opportunity to impress the employer that you're with, and you get the opportunity to see different areas that you can actually jump forward in your career towards. So that is pretty much what will happen after the 1 year placement. You pretty much by that time would know exactly where you want to place yourself within this this field, and all I can say is that you go for it.
There's a question about, is this course only cybersecurity or could it lead to AI as well? Yeah, so this is only for cyber. The AI is a different program. It's, you know, it probably will start later on in this year. So it would be very difficult to sort of, I think once you're in the placement part, because that's no doubt where you would be when the AI program starts, to also sort of enroll in that if that's what you're asking. Next question is, if you already possess the CompTIA Security Plus certification, well, that's amazing. We still would require you to actually fulfill all of the obligations of the course in order to graduate from our program, though. And then Richard's asking, how much is the repayment per month for the 15,000 loan? Or sorry, 14,000.
So the repayment per month for that is approximately $620 at 24 months.
Okay. Again, if you have any further questions, we have a question here about the specs required for your own laptop.
Yeah, I'll post those in the chat because it's probably easier.
Remember, the deadline for application is May 2nd, and you apply at the Student Revolving Loan Fund. For to actually apply, and you actually apply for the loan via the Student Revolving Loan Fund. Also, if you're self-financed, you are required to apply through the Student Revolving Loan Fund, also so that your application goes to Protexxa. And it is an exciting field. I saw a question earlier. I don't know if I missed the answer to it. It was about the job market for persons pursuing cybersecurity right now. So I don't know if Ryan, you could give us a little bit more insight on that. Like generally, like once you're qualified, what's the job market like out there?
Well, the job market, I get that's one of the reasons for this course's existence, right? Is to meet the huge demand for cybersecurity professionals. Like companies are not only realizing just themselves that they need people, but they're also being regulated that they need people. Like this is becoming like the law in some cases. So there's a huge need, there's a huge demand, and what they're asking for is people that have some skills, and so that's the goal of this program. So I think this is a great opportunity to pivot, to try something new, because there are lots of opportunities out there.
Okay, so I want to ask if can an Ultra 7 processor be okay to be used?
I don't really know much about that processor, but if you think it can meet the demands of what I said in the chat, then I would say yes.
The AI course, we are waiting the start date for the AI program. So as soon as that is available, we would definitely let you know. The deadline to apply is May 2nd for the cybersecurity program. Will you oh sorry, this is a question for Ryan here. Will Kali Linux be taught during the course?
Yes, so we do talk about Linux, we talk about Kali. You are using some tools on Kali Linux, so yes, that is part of the course. Are pen testers in high demand? Yep, they are also in high demand, because again, part of the auditing process for a lot of companies these days is to show a pen testing, that their companies have undergone some kind of pen testing effort. So I definitely think that is an area also that's critical. And then how much is the repayment per month for the $11,000 loan?
Approximately $581 for 20 months.
Okay. The next question. Well, yes, this was dealt with before about working full time while doing the course. Yes, it is very challenging to work full time and complete the course. You have to have a high level of time management to make that happen. So that's a decision that is on you. Please understand that, I mean, if you would have seen some of the um referrals and stuff from before, only thing about the course is that it is demanding, as with any course that is worth its weight in gold. You will be challenged. You will have assignments to do and deadlines. So yes, it will be challenging with a full-time job. Some people say it is doable. So you would have to make that assessment based on your abilities and your timelines on your own.
I answered the question about the voucher, but the next question is about the difference between the course and certified ethical hacker. Yeah, the certified ethical hacker course is much more specific on the hacking, right? Pen testing, whereas this one is broader and talks about cybersecurity. And I mean, there is some specific, it does get into some specifics with certain areas, but the pen testing course is purely pen testing, whereas this one is not.
Okay, cool. Are there any requirements needed to be eligible for the course or to boost your chances of being accepted for the course?
Well, other than there's an interview that I talked about earlier, so that is a key aspect of the course. So that is kind of one of the main ways that we use to determine whether or not you will be successful in the course. So I would say try to prepare for that as much as possible, and I gave tips on that earlier.
Yes, and one other thing is being, I guess it goes without saying, being computer literate is extremely important. Being able to know your way around a computer, using the internet, etc., would be definitely helpful. So there's,
Must I be present to access information? Yeah, we do record things. But I do recommend that you try to be present as much as possible, because that is an important part of the learning process, is being engaged. How similar is this course to the Google Cybersecurity? I actually don't know. I don't know about that course at all. Do you have to have a background in IT? No. We've had many, many people without backgrounds in IT be successful in this course. And is learning code part of the course? Yes, there's a small amount of coding, but we walk you through that. We support you hugely.
okay, well, we're winding down on the session right now. For those who would have missed the earlier parts of the session, what we are going to do is that we're going to email a copy of the recording for you so you can get that information and rehash that information. And while you're watching it again, or even know if you have any queries about what you've heard that you didn't get answered during this session, please feel free to contact us, send it in the chat, and we would be able to answer you as soon as possible about that. So hopefully before the end of the week, you should have the videos in your inbox so that you can review. Um, so at this point, unless Ryan and the rest have something else to say, any age limits? One last question, be 18 years or over. Right.
Nothing else to add other than really excited that you're all here, and hopefully I'll see you in the next course.
Okay, great. Contact information. Alan, you could put the contact information up in the chat. Um, so thank you very, very much for attending, and I want you guys to enjoy the rest of your evening and have a beautiful rest of the week. It was a pleasure
Bye,
being
everyone.
here. Okay, then.
All right, have a good evening. Have a good evening, everyone.
A very good evening.